Hey everybody, how's it going? We are back with yet another themed Hot 5 list, and I'm joined by Peter Renna, the nicest guy in comics over there, of Dollar Bin Digging and many other things on the comicbookinvest.com CBSI website. So head over there and check his stuff out. I'm Mike Morello. I do cover tunes and cover fire and various other things as well. So if you're interested in what we write, please head over to comicbookinvest.com and check out some of those articles. Really good dollar bin digging this week. Peter, nice work. You got me spending my money. I gotta go find that. That Justice League Dark. Is it number 9? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Yet another possibility for the team that may happen if we get a show.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll see. But a really great article this week, and then mine is Cover Tunes is a Dave Stevens thing, and Peter and I are both on the Dave Stevens who can finish the set first trail right now. I found a new one yesterday that I never knew about, which is kind of awesome. Something silly and cheap, but it is a thing.
That's right. You remind me. I still have to go get that book you shared with
me. You got to
go
buy that. $6, man.
I know. I will. As soon as I looked at it, and the place where it was, I was like, oh, well, I should look for other things to save on shipping. And then I just kind of got sidetracked and didn't finish with my cart. But
fair enough.
We're done.
Fair enough. Anyway, that's already a sidetrack. This week, we're taking a look at our theme top 5, and it is the DC metal villains, or sort of, I guess, the Dark Knights, if you will, from the original series and tie-ins. We got death metal going on right now, obviously, and that's part of the list this week as well, slightly. So it's the Dark Knights metal villains. And I think pretty obviously the big sort of pull from at least the first wave of all that was Batman Who Laughs. And so you can see him in the background here on our slideshow. But this is one of those rare characters in the hyper modern age that has actually caught fire and stayed hot. He got his own series. He was that popular. I mean, he had a one shot through the actual series of metal back in the day, but managed to get his own mini series and still hot everywhere that the character pops up. Definitely a cool design that is controversial because it's talked about having been stolen as like Judge Death from Judge Dredd, or possibly the Mouth of Sauron from Lord of the Rings, sort of a mashup of the two.
It's influence.
It's definitely influenced by that stuff. Even if it's accidental, it's pretty close. And so that's kind of a shame. But at the same time, definitely a recognizable character that has continued to stay expensive. And we're going to kind of go through his appearances and a couple of other side shoots today in the list. But did you ever own the whole metal set? Probably like me, and you owned it like 3 or 4 times and kept selling it.
No, actually, I've held it. I had a couple extras. The extras I pretty much got rid of, but I've held the main set just through the whole thing because it was still kind of cool. So I'm just keeping it for me. But I did find a few extras from this run and probably still got rid of them too early because, again, who would have thought that these things would still be
I know
up even now.
I know. There's a main book on this list that I've had probably 7 or 8 times, and I still have one copy. I kept the nicest one, but I just kept selling it, and I probably should have kept it. But you can't always gauge what things you're supposed to keep and what things you're supposed to get rid of.
No.
But I did keep the good ones, I guess. But I've had the set a few times, and I sold off 2 fully complete sets with all the variants and everything. Probably stupid. I probably should have kept those.
The one thing I probably should have kept though was, I think it was like the 3rd issue. I had an error, like an actual true error. The foil wasn't on the book. Like they didn't print it with the foil on it. So it was the book without the foil printing. I got it graded. I tried to get it graded as an error, but they didn't recognize it. So I just got a 9.8, like a regular 9.8 of it. But
really, that's weird that they didn't qualify.
They didn't notice it. I put look, no foil.
That's strange that they didn't put at least a qualified label on there for you.
Well, I sold it.
For those that don't know what this series even is, if you don't read hypermodern stuff, we're talking about the Dark Knights, which are 7 alternate Bruce Waynes, evil Bruce Waynes, however you want to look at it, that were Bruce Wayne's greatest fears created by Barbados. Why we're not going to talk about Barbados's first tonight, but that's down a different rabbit hole. but as a result, this was weird. The series was weird. It came out really sort of sporadic and delayed, but people really loved it. So there's some people that talked about not loving the ending of it, but here we are back in the death metal going on right now at number 3, and it is hot again. So let's dive into the list with our lowest pick, number 5. We're going to start at number 5 and go down. And this is sort of a hat trick here, if you will. And it's 3 books. The first one being Nightwing 29. This was one of the metal tie-ins and a Batman Who Laughs appearance, as is the next one, which is the Green Arrow number 32. And then the third book, which is the Suicide Squad number 26, and those were all tie-ins to the metal thing with Batman Who Laughs. But it was one of those things that I remember when these books came out, and when they first dropped, people kind of ignored the tie-ins. And most stores around me didn't order a whole lot of copies of these. So I remember that sort of like a month later, when the Batman Who Laughs thing kind of kicked in, everyone was rabid to try to find these 3 books, and they were nowhere to be found. And of course, there were B covers for all for all of this stuff during Rebirth. So you've got 2 different covers to go off of. But it seems as though the market has latched onto the A covers almost all the way through this whole thing. Yeah. It is surprising. It's rare that happens that way. Usually it's the B covers, because for the most part, I would find that my shops would order maybe 5 copies of the B cover, but like 10 or 20 copies of the A cover on pretty much every book. But for whatever reason, in this case, it's the A covers that seem to be the way to go, and that might be driven by one particular book on this list, where everyone wants the A cover and not the B cover, and so that may have trickled down to all the other books. I don't really know, but for whatever reason, it's the A covers that people want. So those 3 that we just showed you, those tie-ins are number 5 on the list. And you can get them for, I don't know, at first you could get them for next to nothing. And they sell fairly well in the 5 to 8 times cover range ish. So like 25-ish bucks, something like that, $30 maybe if they're in nice shape. The Nightwing seems to sell the best out of the 3, although that's kind of changed. It was the Suicide Squad one for a while that seemed to be the hot one. So they kind of flip-flop, but they're all roughly the same. And they're definitely good books to have. But actually, my money's kind of on the next one, number 4 on our list here. And it's the Dark Knight's Metal, the main series, the number 2, which came out the same day as another famous book that we'll talk about in a little while. And this is sort of tied for first appearance of Batman Who Laughs. Like I said, it came out on the same day as the other book in question. Both books released on that same day. But it seems like the winner goes to Teen Titans 12, which of course we're going to talk about shortly. But this is a prettier book, but Batman Who Laughs is not on the cover. So my guess is that's the reason why the market has decided that it's not this book, but instead Teen Titans 12 for whatever reason.
I think it's multiple covers too, and this is a higher print run, so people like, I think, the lower, harder to find book, and again, having him on the cover I think helped.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, those tie-ins were just not ordered quite the same way. Most shops probably ordered Teen Titans as they would order normal Teen Titans, not realizing it was going to be a metal tie-in, whereas this was a big event, so stores ordered a ton of the regular metal. So you're right. I'm sure the Teen Titans 12 was rarer, the characters on the cover, all of the things, even though they came out the same day. But either way, Scott Snyder himself does say Metal 2 is the first Batman Who Laughs. So eventually, I feel like this will have to correct in some way. Maybe it'll be labeled as cameo. I don't really know how they do such things. That's above my pay grade. So, I don't really know. I think it's one of those things where it's worth owning one, squirrel it away along with your Teen Titans 12 copies, and just have it, so that you won't be surprised down the road when things flip flop. Especially when you get a creator who's telling you that it's the other book. But either way, this book still sells really well, and it has gathered steam over the last like year-ish. This one wasn't hot for a really long time, and then it sort of did. And it kind of sells in that same range as those tie-ins that we talked about already, like the Nightwing and the Suicide Squad. 25-ish, $30 book, something like that now is roughly where it's kind of jumped to. You can still find yourself copies for $15, $10, $15.
Yeah, you can always get them cheaper. If you look, shop around, patience.
Again, one of those foil covers, though, and it shows every little scratch and scuff. Oh, yeah. So 9/8 on these books are tough, on all of them, on all the metal sort of A covers, the foil A covers. The next entry in at number 3 is actually the one that isn't a Batman Who Laughs entry, and that is the Batman the Red Death one shot number 1, and so it's the Red Death one. This is the other book in the whole run, the other Dark Knight that seems to be popular for people to go grab. I don't really know if this was rarer. It didn't seem like it was rarer to
I think
me.
it was the first. It was like the first tie-in, I think. So maybe they didn't order it as heavy, or maybe they didn't realize and gauge the popularity of the series. So maybe it was under-ordered. I mean, there's 4 printings of this book, so they must have sold out. So, or maybe people just like the Flash. Maybe they like the idea of Batman Flash.
Yeah, that's true. And there's also, I mean, the show was on CW at the time, and so it could have been tied. The popularity of this could have been tied to the popularity of the show, so who knows on that front. But at the same time, there was also convention foil variants for some of these. This one included, and those can go for some pretty big money. But just because the print runs are small, it's the same book inside. Yeah. But I'm going to take just a quick pause and go look over at the chat. We got DT. How you doing? Hello. K Titus. Hello from Japan. Yeah. That's awesome. Thanks for joining us. Really appreciate it. Gem City Comics. Thanks for joining us too. Yes. I mean, I love this book too. I love this book because it made me some money. I ended up with like a stack of 5 of these and a couple of the convention exclusives. And I got myself a really nice book or 2 out of these. But again, I'm kind of kicking myself now. I kind of wished I'd kept a whole set, but what are you going to do? So is Legends of the Dark Knight considered the first Batman hat? Probably.
I guess.
Yeah. I guess it would. That hasn't occurred to me, but I guess that's very possible. So yeah, I'm gonna say yes, but I don't really know.
Yeah, I read first appearance everything these days. It's first.
Yeah, we really do.
That's.
It's funny. I read the whole thing retroactively, so I swore off event books and tie-ins and things like that. So it said I would never do it. And then what, lo and behold, shows up towards the end of this series, but the Sandman. And I'm like, oh no, they got me. Really, they got me. I was this huge Sandman guy when I was a kid. And so as soon as I saw Sandman pop up in metal, I'm like, damn it, now I got to read the damn thing. So, and I was pleasantly surprised by all this stuff. So details, I read through them real quick. So I don't know about the Batman Manhattan thing, but you know, but there you have it. Christopher, how's it going? He says this series came out when I first got back into comics, so I grabbed them all. Can't get rid of them. Yeah, I mean, I guess if this is sort of the thing that got you back in, this is the memorable thing for you, and you got to hold on to them. And I wish I had taken your advice. I should have kept them too, but I didn't. I mean, I kept a couple important ones, but I didn't keep the real good ones. So okay, so now we get into the absolute insanity that was last week and Legends of the Dark Knight Death Metal. It's our sort of number 2 pick, but I mean, you could argue that this is even like a number 1 tie just because of how ridiculously well this thing sold. This was on everybody's radar. There was no surprises going on here. We knew it was going to be the first Robin King. We knew it was going to have a Batman Who Laughs cover. We knew the whole thing going in, and yet still this thing sold like crazy. It pre-sold like crazy. It's still selling like crazy at like $20, $25, $30 a pop for a book everybody could find on release day.
Yeah, there were a lot.
There were a lot
of these. I mean, the one shop I go to doesn't order heavy on anything, and they had enough to get 2 of the 1 in 25s. I mean, this small shop got 2 of the 1 in 25s.
Yep, and the 1 in 25 is, I mean, I really like the cover. It's a Carrie Andrews cover, and I think it's gorgeous. I owned it briefly. Because I just couldn't deny selling it at the prices that it's selling. I have not seen our CBSI's Matt DeVoe does cover price, the website. It's cover price without the E. It's COVR price. And he does his variant watch every week. And he did a write-up on this particular book last week, just saying through all the books they've tracked in the modern age, they have never seen a book of this low ratio with this much pre-knowledge come out and sell for the prices that it sold at. Yeah. I mean, it was instantly a $200 to $300 book, depending on which day or hour you bought it. And that's insane. I mean, You're right. Every shop I know had at least 1 of these, if not 2 of these, and they were instantly a $250, $275 book. I mean, it's a pretty book, but I mean, it's just a 1 in 25 on a heavily ordered book that everybody knew was coming. I just don't see prices holding on a book like this. But I mean, what do I know?
Yeah.
This has to be the variant of the year, I guess. At this point, if it's not a Peach Momoko cover, it's this. So,
yeah, no, I think this the heat, the at least initial heat on this, I think surpasses Little Yoda at this point.
I don't. But depends. I mean, we'll wait and we'll see when that one
Yeah, I
shot
mean
comes
we're only
out.
a week in, so the things could change very quickly. But
I mean, it's the character too. I mean, Robin King. Are we going to care about Robin King in 6 months? Are they going to kill the character off? Or are they going to? Is it just this miniseries and then we never see him again? The design is cool and creepy, and it's kind of interesting to see a dark Robin. But I mean, at the same time, I just don't. Everyone's always hated Robin. I mean, another great cover, the Federici right here, and an interior panel from the newest issue. I think this is issue number 3 right here. A great cover that, again, we all saw it coming. Everybody knew it was coming out, and yet still $25 book. For whatever reason, it is a great cover. This one I'll give. This is just a regular B cover, so this wasn't an incentivized thing. Actually, the 1 in 25 is kind of a lame cover in my opinion in comparison to this one. So this was just a regular B. Most stores probably got 5-10 copies of this, if not more. So this shouldn't have been hard to find, but yet still 20 to 25 bucks on the bay. So I don't know. I got myself a copy because I like the cover. I also featured it in Cover Fire, so I usually put my money where my mouth is. If there's books I feature, I'm like, well, I really kind of have to buy them, even if I get rid of them later. I have to at least put my money there. So Christopher says, what about the rumors that that's not the same Robin King? I haven't read it yet. That's down the rabbit hole way deeper than I go. So I read. So here's my deal. I wasn't a DC reader for a really long time. They really rubbed me the wrong way through Rebirth, and I kind of fell off the wagon for a while. And now I've gotten back into DC, but I've really only reading very select titles. So I've been buying all the death metal stuff, but I haven't read it yet. So I can't actually answer your question in all honesty, Christopher.
All I can say is I did read the Legends where Robin King is introduced, and that is being actually, without spoiling things. I mean, it's been a week, so if I'm spoiling anything, I apologize. Put your fingers in your ears for like 10 seconds. But it being actually Bruce Wayne in that story, I don't know if going forward with Batman Who Laughs, if Robin King will be a Bruce Wayne or if he'll be actually a Robin or not. I mean, because I didn't read the newest death metal yet either. I got one on the way. I just haven't gotten it to read it. So I just know where it left off, where that Legends book, that's technically in a Robin. Well, I mean, he calls himself Robin, but it was technically Bruce. So I think of him as a Batman. Like, regardless of what he calls himself, it's Bruce Wayne. I think he's a Batman. But that's just me. But anyway, so Robin King, either way, people like it. Yeah. People are buying into it. I don't know if it'll last. I mean, we'll have to see where this series ends up going. I mean, again, without knowing, it's only issue 3. They got a few more issues to go. Robin could just kind of fade away. But I don't know. We'll see. We will see how it goes. So I guess as I'm waiting for Mike to get back,
sorry,
get ready for.
Sorry about that. Am I back? Am I good?
You're back.
My apologies.
Time for number 1.
I'm so sorry about that. I'm not really sure what's going on with my internet today. But yeah, so anyway, so there we go. But that brings us very nicely and cleanly into our number 1 pick, which should be a no-brainer, which is the Teen Titans 12. And it is clearly the A cover that everyone wants because he's on the cover. Yeah. And it's interesting to note that second print, which is the red version, is the same cover, and it's also kind of under the radar still. I mean, these still pop up. Matter of fact, someone in the chat said they just found one for $4. Gem City says he found one under a box in the Thanos section. So that's pretty cool. I remember one of my shops had a stack in their shop for ages. It had to be months it was in there. No one touched them.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden this one started to tick up, and then that whole stack was gone the next time I went in there. So it's a book that pops up pretty often. Even the A cover, the green one. I really like the cover. I think it's great that he's on it. I see why it's the more expensive between it and Metal 2. But at the same time, if Snyder says it's not this book and it's the other book, there may be some evening out at some point. But there's no denying the prices on this particular book. I mean,
I'm surprised.
I mean, what's a 9.8 selling for now? I mean, it's high.
Yeah, I know it's at least 4.
Yeah,
past 400. I think I don't know if it's getting in the 5 to 6. I haven't looked in a while.
It's like $1.50 or $1.75 for an A cover, right?
Yeah, something like that. And I had those are ones I blew out. Just all right, I found them.
And then there's the redheaded stepchild that no one seems to want, which is the B cover.
I like that one.
I know, so do I, but he's not on the cover. So this sort of falls in the range of Metal 2, where since he's not on the cover, it's not quite as interesting. So it's kind of fallen down into just the double digits rather than the triple digits that this one gets. I don't really know why. The cover's cool. It was much in my hunting. It was much rarer. It was harder to find.
That was harder.
And for a brief moment, they were pretty even. They kept sort of pace with each other for about a month or two, and then the A cover just took off, and that was the end of that. Sort of like God Country, in the A and the B cover, and then it sort of just ended up. And then it was the B cover was the hot one for a while, the yellow one, and then it swapped again, and the A cover just took over, and it's really never changed since then. So this is a book I think, honestly, collectors should have in their collection. I think that this is a book that is going to have some staying power. I can't believe I'm saying that out loud. Because I generally don't believe in a lot of hypermodern stuff like Robin King, for instance. But who knows? But this book, I think, is one to grab a nice copy of and hold on to it. Maybe a first and a second print. Grab that Metal 2 as well, just to have it, just in case sort of the climate shifts a little. And be happy that you have them all, I guess. And because this could end up being a really tough book to get down the line. Especially if it's in nice shape. But I like the book. I think it's got good future potential. And I can't believe I haven't mentioned this yet, and I want to make sure I do. On any of these books, please head over to Comic Book Invest, where our very own Ben C. writes up the full article for the theme Hot 5, and he puts a lot more info into his article about. We also talk about some things he doesn't talk about, just so that you get sort of a double experience that way, and you get a little bit more stuff. So go over there and check the article out, see alternate pictures of some things, extra info, some pricing info here and there, and even some opinions. So we're not quite done, even though that's number 1. We do have an honorable mention, and I do like this book. I think this book has a lot of room coming up here. Our honorable mention is the one-shot Batman Who Laughs, number 1, from the Metal sort of series. I believe in it. I have myself a 9.8 of it. I think that this book has some real legs and could really see a big jump. I have a CBCS, which is strange. It just happens to be the deal I got. Time was right. I think I got this for almost what it cost to just buy the book. I think I got this thing for like $10. Actually, a buddy of mine got it for us. So it's pretty awesome. But I like the cover. I think it's a great cover. I think it's one that kind of went under the radar. I think it's one people are going to want in the future. The origin of the character is in it. And you see what origins are doing in certain cases now, like Galactus, for instance, all those Thor books, 168, 169, 163, 164, whatever they are, they're starting to all tick up. People are interested in actually reading these stories. And I think this one, while it's not ever going to be Teen Titans 12, is going to have some legs in the future. It still
has something. It's still worth grabbing.
Yep, I agree. So don't sleep on this book. Get yourself a copy if you can. JJ Maxwell, how's it going? He says the foil variant is the one that's really just treading water, especially considering the higher buy-in. The foil for Teen Titans 12, is that what you're talking about? Which I think was a con exclusive, if I'm not mistaken, right?
I think so. The DC did that for all those. They would pick like a handful of covers and they just put them in foil. Yeah. Yep. I think they did it for pretty much everything during that time, like you said. And there was also some other convention exclusives like the Red Death and a few others. They may have all had them, actually. I'm not really sure. I only ever had the Red Death one because it was the only one that really seemed to be getting any money. And I made sure to get myself a nice copy of this, a nice copy of Teen Titans 12, both covers, a second print, which I didn't pull out tonight, and a Metal 2. And I think that, honestly, I really think that having that set of maybe 5 books in your hand, the A and B, the second print, the Metal 2, and this one shot, I think moving down the future, I think those 5 books, having them all together in one little chunk is a smart move. Yeah.
And we'll see what happens with Robin King in the future. But I don't really have a whole lot of faith in my opinion.
And you'll probably need a handful of books for that one as well, if it comes down to it. And he does hang
it sounds
around.
Like you already need Legends of the Dark Knight as well as Death Metal 3, if nothing else. And then you're going to want the A covers for both. You're going to want the 1 in 25 for the one shot, and then you're going to want that Federici cover for the number 3 at least. And who knows what they're going to do next? So it's like punch
modern collecting for you. There's no more one first appearance. You have to have
I know. Yeah,
books.
No, can't possibly have that. How are you going to make money? Can't. No way. So that's our list for the week. Really thank you guys for coming out and hanging with us. We've got a lot of people in the chat. Thanks for joining in and talking to us tonight. Please head over to comicbookinvest.com for a lot of great content every week. It's all free. We all love doing this stuff. There's tons of fantastic articles. You get Topher's True Firsts. You get the Hot 10 list every Friday, which of course has its show on the Tales from the Flip Side YouTube channel as well. You get Peter's Dollar Bin Digging, My Cover Tunes, Cover Fire, Rumor Has It, the Wednesday one. We just keep them churning out all week. And then like I just mentioned, head over to the Tales from the Flip Side YouTube channel for more content there from the main podcast on Mondays. You've got, of course, our theme top 5 here, 3 Comic Monty on Fridays, the weekend update with Nico, and Global Comic Safari, which is really fantastic. And there's a really great one this week. So please check that out as well if you're interested in foreign comics. But just tons of great content on both sides, the YouTube side and the website side. So Tales from the Flip Side YouTube, comicbookinvest.com, or CBSI. You see us all wear the CBSI stuff. So head over there and check all that stuff out. Check out Ben C's article on these books that we just went over. Toss him a comment. Let him know what you think. And I guess we'll see you next week with a new theme top 5. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. Appreciate it.
Check out Monty tomorrow. We have an Eisner winner joining us. Monty
yes. So and it's epic. It's epic. It's epic. So saddle up and get ready for some good chat.
All right. Take it easy, fellas.
Thanks again, everybody.